Get ready for the show, it's about to begin. Pro fan talk when we dive right in. Sports talk, hot takes, ain't nothing we lack. We the real fans, nothing holding us back. Mic check, 1, 2, y'all know the drill. We bringing the energy, we keep it real. Touchdowns on liquid air, on the slam dunks on the court. Every sport, every game, we holding down the fort. We breaking down the plays, dissecting the stats. Pro fan talk, we keeping it fat. Debating with passion, no filter, no doubt. We the voice of the fans, we scream and we shout.
What's going on, folks? Happy Tuesday to you. We are on the Pro Fan Talk. A lot of stuff going on. Lots of stuff going on, man. Hopefully we have a good turnout tonight because I want to take some of y'all questions, man, to see what's really going on, see how you feel, see where your head's at. Are y'all ready for this showdown with the LA Rams? We are in the divisional round. Wild card is done. We handled business. No, it wasn't pretty, but we handled business. So you wipe everything off the table and you start again. You don't bring anything from the past to the present. That's the good thing about the playoffs. You have 4 one-game seasons. So it's hard to get on the roll. You just got to take care of business that day, that game. That's the way it goes. So I'm going to have the links open in a few minutes. If you guys want to come on, if you got questions to ask, we're going to talk about some things for a minute. If you do, what's going on, Cody K? If you do want to come on and ask a question, you do not have to be on camera. You can have your camera off, and I can still be able to pick up your audio, and we can still have a conversation, still talk, because I know a lot of people might feel some kind of way about coming on camera, but it's all good. So if you got questions, I'm going to have that link up in a couple minutes, but we're going to go over a couple things real quick. Right now, it is a balmy 27 degrees in South Jersey. 27 degrees. It's cold, y'all. And the reason I bring that up is because we are dealing with LA. We are dealing with a warm weather team. And most warm weather teams don't fare so well when they come to the East Coast in the cold, or when they go to Lambeau, or when they go to Washington. Whenever you got to deal with that type of weather and you're just not used to it, you're just not used to it. There's no getting used to it unless you are somebody that grew up on the East Coast or in the cold weather, but you still got to get used to playing in it. It's a different beast. And the LA Rams do not have a good record in playing in cold weather. They just don't. So that's something to our advantage. There is a storm front moving to the east. So we might get some ugliness come game time. We might have a few inches of snow on the ground when it's time to kick off. But we'll see how that's going to go. Whether we do or don't, it doesn't look like the weather is going to be very nice. If we don't have snow, it might be freezing rains or just raining in, 36, 37 degree weather. And I've said this many times before, the only thing worse than being cold is being wet and cold. Good grief. So we'll see what's going to happen, man. We got to keep an eye on that storm front. What's going on, Daniel Berry? What's going on, Chris? What's going on, Cody K? But we're going to keep an eye on that storm front, man, because that's to our advantage. We're our cold weather team. We don't mind it. We can handle it. We can handle ourselves in the cold. We got a history of that, and we're used to it. We are used to it. So that'll be our advantage. So we'll see what the weather's going to do. But it's been a lot of stuff going on, man. A lot of stuff going on. First of all, the Eagles versus Green Bay. The Eagles took care of business, and of course, everybody's talking about. You see the what's going on back there. Was Dan Orlovsky right? Everybody was talking about Dan Orlovsky's comments because Jalen didn't play particularly well. Very reminiscent about, I believe it was the Carolina game. I think that was it, where he played bad, and the whole offense from A.J. Brown, that whole statement and that whole hoopla got fired up. but it wasn't. I was never really I wasn't a fan of how we called the game. And it's easy to say that being, backseat driver, Monday morning quarterback, all of that type of stuff. Because you got, hindsight is 2020. So I wish they would have done some things different. You already know how I feel about running Saquon. They never run them outside. Everybody else in the league is running their running backs off tackling outside, but for whatever reason, we keep trying to plug it up the middle. But I beat that dead horse, and honestly, I'm gonna keep beating it until they start doing it and we start seeing some results. However, what's up, K Chanel? Um, appreciate you for jumping in. It was not after. Let me say it like this. Let me say it like this. After looking at the film myself, number one, I agree with Dan Orlovsky. Number two, it wasn't as bad as people think, but it also wasn't good. Two things can be true. Jalen Hurts didn't play particularly well, but it wasn't as bad as people think because they're looking at the stats and there were 2 quarters where he didn't complete a pass. So you got to give some credence to that. Was it some of the scheme? Absolutely. But did he miss some throws? Absolutely. I found one play in my film study where he missed Devontae Smith splitting the safeties, and he had him, but he just didn't see him. I don't know if he was on his other read. I don't know, but he was there, and it just didn't happen. So there were a couple situations where he could have made a different decision. There was a couple situations where I know 2 in particular where he took a sack, and I didn't think he needed to take a sack. The one that I'm thinking of specifically is the one where he scrambled outside and he ends up sliding instead of throwing the ball away. And he ends up sliding almost into Lane Johnson. I didn't understand that at all. Either continue to go out of bounds or I didn't understand what he was doing. So there's a couple of things that were puzzling. There were a couple of situations where clearly Green Bay was bringing the blitz. 7 men on the line of scrimmage. The mid-middle, 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage was vacant. And everybody was on the line and everybody was coming. And we had no hot routes going to that vacant area. Somebody, either Devontae was on the left, I think Goddard was on the right, but he was a little bit more outside of of Lane Johnson. But Devontae was in the slot on the left side. He could have ran a quick slant and he'd have been wide open in the middle. He would at least got to maybe the 5-yard line. So stuff like that. Is that coaching? Is that the scheme? I believe on that same play, Jahan Dotson went I think it was Jahan Dotson. He went the wrong way because Devontae ran the quick out, Jahan Dotson ran the quick out. So they were literally both in the same area. And that's a no-no. That's a no-no. What's going on, K-Sap? My man Simply Ball Dropping K-Sap is in the building. He is depressed because he is a Vikings fan. And the Vikings got that ass whooped. Good grief. I thought they were going to put up a better showing than that, bro. But yeah, that was ugly, man. They got taken out to the woodshed. So, and I feel bad because it was, the defense was playing okay, but you can't stop that the whole game. The offense got to do something. They had to do something, but we'll get to that. 2 weeks in a row. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I feel for you, bro. I feel for you. So, yeah, Sam Darnold just cost himself probably about 35, 40 million. So, yeah, okay. It was, yeah, shake my head. It was ugly. It was good and ugly, good and terrible, as they said in Coming to America. But yeah, and let's be quite honest. The Eagles game didn't look great. Well, at least the offensive side of the ball. The defense looks stellar. Our defense looks ridiculous right now. And we are playing on a high level, but we did have some key injuries that is going to come into play. Now, I know we're all for the next man up, but when you playing at the level of N'Kobe Dean and Zach Bond And when you lose one of them, that is going to hurt. So Oren Burks, he's got some experience. It's not like he's coming fresh off the bench. He's been a starter in this league before. And you got to give him some grace, especially when he's finally going to get a week's worth of reps with the ones. So we're really going to see what he's about, as opposed to coming in for a couple plays and then your man's getting hurt, and then you got to fill in, and you ain't had that rhythm because you ain't got the reps during the week. So I'm expecting Oren Burks to play a lot better than he did. His coverage was suspect last week, very sus. But it's either going to be Oren Burks or Trot Jr. And I know the consensus in Philly is that everybody wants to see Trot Jr. for obvious reasons. He's a legacy. The kid was good, because I know a lot of people wanted to get Edgerrin Cooper. And he had a really good game for Green Bay. But Trot Jr. lasted. He had a good camp. A lot of people are interested to see him. So we'll see what Vic Fangio is going to do. But I will say this, and we just signed Nick Morrow today. We'll get into that a little bit later. But the one thing I've been saying this week about Vic Fangio, and this is my opinion. In my opinion, Vic Fangio is entering into Jeff Stoutland territory. What do I mean by that? Everybody that's come and stepped into this defense, it has paid dividends. Some better than others, but you understand my point. Vic Fangio has taken this defense from worst to first. So everybody that's come in, nobody expected anything from Zach Bond. Came in and he balled. Nobody was expecting anything from Nakobe Dean. Finally got his opportunity, finally got healthy, and both of them were playing so far above expectations, it wasn't even funny. Zach Bond should be the leader for Defensive Player of the Year right now. I don't give a damn what anybody says. He should be the leader for Defensive Player of the Year. And the only reason he is not is because, quite honestly, it's a shame, but because his name is not big enough. The stats are fire. But he should be Defensive Player of the Year, at least the leader in the clubhouse right now, because he is on another level. He is making plays, taking the ball out of the air, making tackles, disrupting offenses. He is making it happen. Zach Bond is one of those guys that can make a play without making a play. He's the guy that even if he doesn't make the tackle, he can get in and disrupt things and, cause a running back or somebody in the pass pattern to do something they're not supposed to do. And he's a smart player. He's where he's supposed to be, and he lets the ball come to him. He's got a nose for the ball, but he lets the play come for him. He doesn't get over aggressive. You don't see, he's pretty decent in coverage. I know the one play, I believe it was for during the Washington game. He got beat for a deep ball, but it wasn't for him not being there. It was because it was a good throw and the receiver made a good catch. But he was right on him. But, I've said this before, linebackers can't cover. Linebackers can run, but linebackers can't cover. Covering is a whole different skill set. Covering means you got to open your hips, rotate, be able to change direction, turn around, locate the ball, and get your hands up so you don't get a pass interference. That's what coverage is. Linebackers can run, so they can run with whoever is going. And if that receiver or running back or whoever that skill position is, if they change direction, usually a linebacker's not going to be able to hang if they run in a quick out or a slant in or some type of double move. That's the mismatch offenses are trying to get. But Zach Bond, I'm saying this all to say to say that Zach Bond has been better than anybody could have ever imagined. On the line of scrimmage, in coverage, or just playing that linebacker depth and playing against the run. He has been incredible. So it's going to be Oren Burks that probably gets the first bite. He's probably going to get the start. He's probably going to get the green dot. And then if that don't work out, I would expect to see Trot in there. Because the one thing about Vic Fangio this year, he has not been mincing words at all. And we found that out way back when we was dealing with the Devin White situation. Vic Fangio is an old school coach, and he's figured it out, and he's figured out how to coach these new school players, and it's working. And everybody that's bought into. So again, Vic Fangio is in that rare air with Jeff Stoutland. Everybody Jeff Stoutland gets turns into a phenomenal player. Just look at Mekhi Becton. Mekhi Becton was a tackle. We moved him to guard, and he's the biggest. We got Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata, and we got a guard that's bigger than both of them. And he is playing at a Pro Bowl level. So the things that Jeff Stoutland can do with players is incredible. Vic Fangio is in that same vein now, because what he's getting out of our defense, nobody would have thunk it, especially with Brandon Graham out, especially with Hassan Reddick gone, especially with Fletch gone. We went from worst to first. And that's all Vic Fangio. So shout out to him. And going forward, we gotta win 3 more games. That defense has got to be stellar for 3 more games. The offense is gonna get it together. They will get it together. I am confident of that. We got to change some things around, and Kellen Moore's got to get it together. Okay, he says, I like Coach Vic's no-nonsense style. I agree. The moment he said he didn't care what your pay grade was, he was going to bench you if you didn't play well. I knew he was going to be it for us. Absolutely. That's that Philly attitude, bring your lunch pail to work type attitude. You got to put in the work. That's why Nakobe Dean was so good. Y'all know I had a chance to spend some time with Nakobe Dean because I went to his football camp. And just had a chance to have a little conversation with him, kept in touch. I texted him after he gotten hurt. Like, people don't really understand how smart Nakobe Dean is. So we're gonna miss that on-field leadership. But hey, next man up, Oren Burks is on you. Or we're gonna have to see the young fella. We're gonna have to see the young fella. But I think Oren Burks can get it done. I'm really curious as to what he's going to do with a week's worth of reps with the ones. That makes a difference, man. Appreciate you, Carlos, as usual, brother. Thanks for showing up. That makes it like, so I'll speak from my experience. When I was with the Eagles, I was on the active roster, but I was not on practice squad. I was on the active roster. But I'm behind 5 running backs. Like, when I made the Eagles, it was me and Vaughn Hebron. We both made the team as free agents. That never happens. 2 free agents make the team at the same position. That almost never happens. But we did. And Vaughn ended up getting playtime. I didn't. But I was on the active roster. So I would literally be running scout team. And what they do is, when if you're on the ones that I'm behind Herschel Walker, James Joseph, Heath Sherman, and Vaughn. I was the 5th back. So in practice, I was always scout team back. But I can see Herschel Walker was always in there. Heath Sherman was hurt at the time. So it was always Herschel, James Joseph, and Vaughn. And Herschel Walker would get the lion's share of the reps. He's with the ones. The 2s might get 2 reps during the week or during a practice. Like maybe 2 series, if that much. I mean, we practiced a lot more than they do now, and we did it differently. So it's a different dynamic to that. So now I would imagine the 2s and the backups get little to no practice during the week. It's all got to be mental reps for them. What's up, Kev? Appreciate you, bro. So, yeah, it's you get little to no reps during the week. So the fact that Oren Burks is going to get plenty of reps with the ones, and they're going to be going over stuff. Not to mention, I'm sure that Nakobe's probably still helping him. Zach Barnes helping him out. He's getting all the help he can get. He's going to be watching a ton of film if he wasn't already watching a ton of film. And we're going to get into the film study aspect a lot too. because that's a big deal. I did the video today. If you said it didn't see this video, was Dan Orlovsky right? Let me see. Let me see. I want to play his clips. I want to play his comments. So stick with me for a minute. Stick with me for a minute. This was Orlovsky's comments about the Jalen Hurts game. So I hope you guys heard that. Did everybody hear that? Kev, you said you couldn't hear it, or was it low, or you just couldn't hear it? I'll pump it up on my phone if I have to, but so if you didn't hear it, let me know. You didn't hear it at all? Couldn't hear it? Okay. Let me see. I thought I had it hooked up. My audio was working, but let me see if I can play it on my phone. I'm gonna go old school. Let me see. Hold on. That was 140. Yeah, because I want y'all to hear that. Because I want you guys to have context on what I'm talking about. So give me 1 second. There we go. Let me get past these ads. All right, hold on. That was about. Yeah. All right, here we go.
Opinions on the Eagles' pass game. I thought Jalen Hurts played as well as he could, given he was asked to do. Okay, my biggest concern in the pass game coming out of Sundays, no one's open. Hey, double AG up top, not open, not open, not open, not open, not open. Everyone's going, well, Jalen Hurts, he's rusty, he's struggling, he's not throwing the football, or no, he wasn't. No one got open. No credit, Green Bay. My concern is, why did they know what it felt like every route was? Covered, 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 covered. No one open. Let's go and run a screen.
So that's basically what it was. He was going over when you see that part where he's pointing to the screen, that's when he was like covered, covered, covered. And so basically he was going over different plays during the game and just looking at the defense covering them. And that is a scheme issue. So that means they had a good idea what was coming. They had a good idea what was coming. And one of the guys, when I put that video out, somebody had asked me, like they made the comment, like, did they know they don't know our plays? Was the comment. They don't know our plays. And my response was, no, they don't know our plays, but they do a lot of film study. And what that shows me is, and based on what I saw when I watched film, they probably had us read pretty well. So they had probably they had a good scout of us. Whoever scouted us out knew exactly where we were going. And that happens from time to time. You get a good beat of what's coming. You watch a ton of film. You watch a ton of film. And I even said it in this video. If you ever noticed the play sheets that the coaches have and how big they are and how many colors they got, It's ridiculous. So like when you see stuff like this, like that play sheet, the colors. Now, mind you, some of those sheets are like, 17, 20, 24 inches long. And all of these plays, and the type is super small because you got to fit a lot in a little bit of space. So all of these highlights, these blues, the reds, these greens, these oranges, all of those mean different things. And the analytical part of it comes into play. Analytics didn't just start a couple years ago with a couple of guys on a computer. Analytics have been involved with sports for years. They made a movie about it. It was called Moneyball with Brad Pitt. That was about analytics. They do the same thing in football. They scour a ton of tape and you get a gist of what a team normally does in any given situation. If it's 3rd and 6 in the third quarter and you got this particular offensive package in, this team runs this particular play 64% of the time. Or if you're a defense and you're, in the red zone in the fourth quarter, you're down by a score. This team runs this defensive front 45.3% of the time. And they scour and then they break it down by team. Then they break it down by coach. Then they break it down by personnel. This coach, when he was with this team, he ran this defense umpteen% of the time. Now he's with a new team. He might have better personnel, and now he runs it more. So it's all about watching film and figuring out the tells. Every team has tells. Just like if you in the chat and you got kids, you know what your kids' tells are. If you give your kids something and they don't like it, if you buy them some clothes and they don't like it, you can tell by the look on their face, even if they try to hide it. If you ask your kid, "Did you break that lamp?" and they try to tell you something else, and you can look at their face and you can look at their body language, you can tell they lying or something. You know what it is. Teams are the same way. Teams are the exact same way. So, they got a particular package and they bring one slot receiver in, and the only time they bring him in is he only got 3 plays. When he's in the game, they run 1 of 3 plays. So you can kind of fish it out. Every team has a tell. And everybody just watches hours on hours on hours of tape to figure out what those tells are. So that's the game. That's the game. So I'm gonna put the link in the chat. If anybody got any questions, just jump on. I'll see you and I'll bring you on, ask your questions, and we can still keep it moving. But so yeah, we'll be ready for it. We'll be ready for it. I don't think our offense is going to be as bad as it was last week or as stale as it was last week. I don't even think I agree with Orlovsky. I don't think Jalen was rusty. I just think he missed a couple throws. And here's the other thing: if the fake push that we ran, if he hits AJ with that pass, nobody's having this conversation. Nobody's having this conversation. If he hits that one pass, because if he hits that pass, I think he would have been above, go Birds, Joe. I think he would have been above 200 yards passing or whatever it was. And you'd have felt a little bit better about it. So it was 1 or 2 passes that were missed that would have changed the whole outlook of the game, or at least what you thought Jalen Hurts was. So, I mean, it is what it is. You look at all, they done talked enough about Justin Herbert and what he didn't do, and Sam Darnold and what he didn't do, and how the defense put the kibosh on it. Again, Dan Orlovsky, it wasn't Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold had folks in his face all game. He couldn't even get the ball out quick enough. Their offensive line was Swiss cheese. So there's plenty of nuanced conversations for stuff like that. So you just got to see how the game goes, and you just hope your team executes better. And when you look at that game, the bottom line is, as bad as Jalen Hurts, as bad as you think he played, Jalen Hurts did not make mistakes. He missed a couple throws, but he didn't make the mistakes. He didn't make the big turnovers. And Jordan Love still had what? Now, the whole concept of scoring off of those turnovers, we definitely got to get better at that, because the defense is getting us the ball and we not converting. That's a problem. And that's a legit criticism. Definitely a legit criticism. But the one thing that I've noticed, all these teams, look at their quarterbacks. Their quarterbacks are running the ball. They're getting out of the pocket and gone. And I think Jalen Hurts, he's trying to stay in the pocket. And I'm like, bro, you got to go. Get up out of there. Because every time he rolls to his right or to his left, you never know quite what's going to happen. And dude, just get out of here. Get you an exit strategy and go. Make the decision and be out. I'll live with you getting 5 or 6 yards, get down, slide it out, or dump it to Saquon. Saquon and Kenny Gainwell. I'll take the check down and we get positive yards. So there's some different things we can do. And I'm expecting that Kellen Moore has a little bit better game plan going into this week. We better have, because every game is a championship game now. Every game. So I don't look at it as going to the Super Bowl. You can't look at it that way. When you are in the moment, you have to look at that moment. So the game is over. The Green Bay game is over. So that don't matter anymore. So the only thing that matters is the Rams. That's it. It don't matter what we did to them last time, because they're a different team. So are we. But we can't look at these teams in a vacuum. And a lot of times people on TV and even us content creators, we look at everything like we are the only team that has had growth. You know what I'm saying? You know, our defense is phenomenal right now. Our defense is a lot better than it was the last time we played LA. But so are they. Jared Verse is in the running for Rookie of the Year for a reason. He's getting sacks. So they've got players. They're a lot better than they were before. So we can't look at everything as one-sided and what we did to them last time. You think they're not looking at tape? They know what we did and what we were successful at. So I would imagine that they're going to change up a little bit, and we got to be ready for it. That's the chess match. That's the back and forth. So I'm confident that Vic Fangio is going to have something for him. My concern is I want to see what Kellen Moore is going to do. But just like that last time, just like when the passing game offense against Carolina, just after that fiasco, what happened the next week? We got everything together. We started getting the ball out quick, and we looked like the offense that we want to see. So I'm expecting that same thing to happen this week. What I don't want to see is that we go pass happy and just forget about Saquon, because we tend to do that sometimes, and I don't like that. Saquon is still the engine for this offense. Yes, it used to be Jalen, but Saquon is just a bigger engine. Saquon got that turbo boost on it, man. So you gotta keep feeding the beast, because nobody's proven that they can stop it yet. So we got to get rid of the ball quick, and we got to be able to do some things to get the ball out of Jalen's hands. And for whatever reason, we still running these long ass routes, these long developing routes, and it makes no sense. So I'm expecting Kellen Moore to be better. I'm expecting our offense to be better, and I just need our defense to continue as advertised. Who's the defensive rookie of the year? Is it you saying Quinyon or Jared Verse? Probably saying Quinyon. So, Joe, what's wrong with AJ and Devontae? I know AJ's knee. I don't think his knee is 100%. I think Devontae is okay, but I don't know. I'm guessing. So I don't know. But I thought Devontae was okay. But they can still get open. They can still get open. So I know AJ this week, he's going to be in the ice bath all week, icing that knee. So it is what it is. It is what it is. So I'm really I kind of want to see Trotter Jr., but I don't know how this is going to play out. Tight back, you can loosen that up. That ain't nothing but some massage and some hot massages and some muscle stim. The hamstring, though, hamstrings are worrisome because last year we didn't have AJ Brown in the last time we had AJ Brown in the playoffs was when we went to the Super Bowl. So we definitely need him. So we'll see what they can do. We'll see what they can do. But I honestly, man, I want to see Jalen run a little bit more because it forces the defense to stay honest. And they giving it to us. So just take it. Just take it. I'm with you, Philly man. We win or go home right now. We are win or go home. That's the way it goes. So, it is what it is. There's no reason. There's no surprises at this point. No surprises. The only surprise you have in a game is when a team just shits the bed, like the Vikings did, like San Diego, like the Chargers. That's more surprising than anything because you're expecting a good game because everybody picked the Chargers to win over the Texans. Everybody. So when they got beat down, the Texas defense just put it on them. And that's why I always say, man, you got to take each game. Each game is its own season. You got 4 one-game seasons. We just won last season. Now we on to the second game, and we got to win this season. That's it. You got 4 one-game seasons. Again, win or go home. Win or go home. So, I mean, but to me, Trotter's different because he's legacy. So he's been in big moments before. It's interesting when you've been there before. Big moments, big lights aren't a big deal. We know he can play. He had a good camp. So we already know it's all about if he's had enough reps to get in there and be able to do what he needs to do. But Oren Burks is up, so I got confidence in Oren Burks. I got confidence in him. But we're going to find out because, like I was mentioning before, Vic Fangio ain't scared to pull that trigger. He ain't scared to yank somebody leash and put somebody else in there. So, if anything, I'm more concerned about, our secondary staying intact because I don't want to see another situation where Avonte Maddox is getting a lot of PT. That kind of worries me a little bit more than anything else. So our secondary is primo right now, but we got to stay healthy. We got to stay healthy. I need Slay to stay in that training room and get the ice or get whatever you need, man. Because the treads on them tires is getting bald, bro. But when he's on the field, when Slay is on the field, he still makes things happen. So we just got to keep him on the field. CJ Gardner-Johnson, we got to keep you on the field. Reed Blankenship, man, for goodness sakes, brother, tackle with your head up. Tackle with your head up. I don't want to see no more of our DBs get knocked out. Sidney Brown, same thing. Sidney Brown is a missile, but man, keep that head up, bro. Vic said he gonna play them both. I didn't hear his press conference today. I get a chance to listen to it, so I'm gonna go back and check that out. But good, man. I want to see him. I want to see them both play. They'll probably have packages. Again, I trust Vic. I got complete trust in Vic. He has shown me and proven to me as a Philadelphia fan that he knows what the hell he's doing. So you know what? Hands off. Vic Fangio, you got it. You got it. Kellen Moore, I got some concerns, but for the most part, again, I can't complain. I'm nitpicking when it comes to Kellen Moore. I'm nitpicking. We were 14-3 this year, and we should have been 16-1. Let's keep it a buck. We should have been 16-1. We should not have even lost 3 games this year. So I can't. Kellen Moore is kind of starting to look like how we used to talk about Rich Gannon in or Jonathan Gannon in 22 when we went to the Super Bowl. We was bend but don't break, and the defense was balling, and it was good until it wasn't. And that Super Bowl was like, oh, we couldn't get a stop to save our life. And it ended in, and we were one bad call away, possibly. So, it is what it is. It is what it is. He said Trotter has been ready since he was a kid on the sidelines. Yeah, man. Listen, it's something to be said for that, bro. Something to be said for that. Let me say this, and again, let me speak on experience. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. And I grew up, I knew as a kid, played against him in high school, knew him personally, knew his little brother personally. I knew Ken Griffey Jr. I went to school with Ken Griffey Jr. way back in elementary school. His little brother Craig was in kindergarten. He was a year behind me and my twin sister. And he was a year ahead of us. And then, so we knew each other in grade school. Then we knew each other in high school. He went to a school called Cincinnati Moeller. I went to Cincinnati Princeton. We were rival schools because our football programs were just tops. And Moeller had a lot of panache with them because they had a couple of their coach had went on to coach at Notre Dame. So they had that hype behind them. And I'm saying all this to say, when I used to play against Ken Griffey Jr., and I played baseball, so I played against Griffey Jr. in baseball. And when I tell you, Griffey Jr. was as advertised. Griffey Jr. hit a ball when we were in high school. He hit a ball so far it made no damn sense in high school. Even back in the second grade, we knew Ken Griffey Jr. was special because, mind you, back then, that was the big red machine. If you're not from Cincinnati, you don't understand. That was the back-to-back champion Cincinnati Reds. I believe it was 75 and 76. With Ken Griffey Sr., Dave Concepcion, Tom Seaver, Pete Rose, that crew. So we had a squad. So whenever his dad used to drop him off at school, it was kind of a big deal. All the kids would kind of hang out outside to see Ken Griffey Jr. get out the car because we knew Ken, and even in the second grade, Ken Griffey Jr. was the only one that could kick the ball over the fence when we played kickball. Do y'all even play kickball anymore? That's old school. But my point is, even back then, you knew he was special. Bring it back home. Trot Jr., same way. When you got that pedigree, when you watch greatness day after day after day, when you in the locker room, when you play in the same position, you don't think Jeremiah Trotter been sitting down with his son, going over film, telling him what to look for, how to play the position? This kid is supremely ready to go. And I hope he gets his opportunity because I got the confidence that he's going to shine. He's going to make some mistakes, but he's going to also make some plays. So it's all about who's going to make the big play first. So I think we're in a good spot. Johnny Bench, you damn right, bro. Johnny Bench. Yes, sir. He played in the kickball league. I didn't even know they still had that. Yo, let me tell you a story about, and this is me ragging on these kids, this generation of kids right here. I used to teach at my church. I used to do youth Bible study. So I had all of the teenage kids because, the kids, I could relate to the kids. I'm a gamer. I used to play pro ball, all of that. So there wasn't nothing these high school kids could get past me. You know what I'm saying? So, you deal with some people, they don't know what time it is. I'm like, all right, I know y'all in here talking about hot coffee from GTA. I know what you're talking about. Stop playing with me. Like, I could hit them where they live. But so one day I decided to take the kids outside. We went into the church parking lot and I decided we're going to go outside and we're going to play kickball. And when I tell you, none of the dudes None of the guys in my group could kick. None of them. None of them. And these would be the main ones in there talking about Kobe and had no athletic talent. And it was so bad, and they got so embarrassed. Okay, Chanel, I see you. I'm going to be there in a second. They got so embarrassed that they quit because the girls was laughing at them. Yes, Edward Chamberlain. Absolutely, Joe Morgan. Yes, sir. The Big Red Machine. All right, we got K Chanel in the channel. Kay, what's going on?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. I'm sorry I'm not on camera. I'm looking kind of crazy right
It's
now.
all good.
But I just wanted to say, first of all, thank you for being somebody that has common sense when it comes to talking about what's going on with the Eagles.
I appreciate it.
It's ridiculous to me how much not just big media, but these so-called fans they blow everything out of proportion. It's like, my goodness, did we win this weekend or did we lose?
Right.
So shout out to you for actually, looking at things from a different perspective. Because I know at first it's always like, okay, well, the game, it wasn't that great of a game,
Right.
and I get it. It was boring. It was nerve wracking a couple of times. I had a few heart attacks, but, uh, but it's amazing to me the way that the media will take it and run with any little thing. We can have the greatest game ever, and it's still going to be something. So
somebody gonna find something wrong with it.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And I try to be fair. Like with the whole thing with Dan Orlovsky, because I agree with what he said for the most part. But when I watched the film, I was like, nah, Jalen was suspect a couple times too.
Oh,
So,
I agree.
He's not, we can't absolve him for some of the stuff he did. But for the most part, I agree with what Dan was saying. And I mean, I've learned to expect that from fans because I don't expect somebody to watch film for 2 hours like I do. And even if they do, they watching broadcast network. They're not watching all 22. And if they are watching all 22, you don't even know them. You're not even sure what you're looking for. So coaching matters. The scheme matters. So there's a lot of different things. Why did Jalen Hurts miss this open receiver? I don't know. What was his progression? Was his progression from left to right, from right to left, from middle to outside? It all depends on how they were practiced. And it's totally different depending on which team, which coach you got, and how they running it. So everything is not always equal. And it's not just, oh, he missed the pass, he sucks. It's a very nuanced conversation. And fact of the matter is, don't nobody want to hear it because in this era of social media narrations and opinions and hot takes, everybody just want the clicks and everybody just want. I honestly believe that a lot of people will say incorrect stuff and be wrong on purpose because that's the easiest way to get traffic.
I agree, but I also think some of it is, when Jalen got drafted, a lot of people were angry when he
Yeah.
got drafted here because there's like, oh my God, we got Carson Wentz, who was good, but I mean, he was made of glass. It wasn't Jalen's fault he couldn't stay healthy, and I think a lot of people now, especially a lot of people that are in media, they can't admit how wrong they were about Jalen. They had such they had their preconceived notions about him. Second round pick, late in the second round.
Yeah.
Is he a winner? Isn't he? He got benched. I was watching something one day and I saw he used to play for the Cowboys. Old head. What is his name?
Troy Aikman?
No. Black guy. He's on that show. He's on that panel show. Oh my God, why can't they?
Michael Irvin?
Michael Irvin, yeah.
Uh-huh.
He had a nerve to bring up when Jalen got benched for Tua. And I'm sitting here like, are you kidding me? That was what, like 6 years ago, 7 years ago? You gotta be kidding me. Has he not won anything since then?
They just I think half of it is Philadelphia because everybody want to rag on Philly. Everybody want to hate on Philly. They constantly move the goalposts. But also, let's keep it a buck. The situation with Jalen Hurts, we also got to throw in the isms because he don't look a certain way. He ain't 6'4".
Yeah.
And he don't have the rocket arm, and there's a bunch of check boxes that everybody wants. Even Jalen having his best game, even like people just want to, because nobody brings this up anymore. He outplayed the best quarterback in the league right now.
Yes.
We lost, but it wasn't because of him. So, but people just throw that out, and that's why, you know, when they get on this narrative like Jalen can't pass and he can't read defenses and coverages and stuff like that, I'm like, he did it before, but he also did it under a different coach with a different offensive scheme. And it's funny, I was so heartbroken when Shane Steichen left, because you saw what Jalen can do when he's got the same coach for 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
And now it's looking like Kellen Moore is going to leave. And then look at what Shane Steichen is doing in Indianapolis. He's got a quarterback that can run, that is bigger, that's 6'4", run a 4.3, can jump out the gym, got a missile launcher for an arm, guidance system not included. But he having leadership issues because the kid tapped out of the game.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So, you know, so they can talk they smack, you know, about Jalen Hurts. And I'm one that subscribes to all he does is win, because I look at all of these other quarterbacks that do check off all of those boxes. Got the strong arm, that's 6'3", 6'4", all of those check boxes that they love. How many of those quarterbacks has actually been to a Super Bowl? Not many of them.
Well, you know,
Not
the
many
next
of them.
thing is, well, he's been there, but did he win? And that's the crazy thing. I just feel like they have this level of perfection that they
don't
set
exist.
for him that does not exist for anybody. And even with, you know, fans who are like, oh, well, he should do this. Why do you want him to look like everybody else? He's his own person. He's quiet, he's laid back, he's chill. He doesn't get overly emotive about anything. He just goes out there and plays his game, and he has fun doing what he loves. That's what you want from a quarterback. You don't want
Absolutely.
somebody that's going to, like, I remember what game was it last year when Kansas City was playing, and Travis, like, he almost knocked down his coach.
Knocked Andy Reid down. Yep.
And it was just like, but nobody was talking about that. Like,
Nobody said a word.
Jalen don't even barely want to talk to the media, more or less, than what he put his hands on his coach. And
Can you imagine if that was AJ Brown?
Can we get into that real fast? Oh my God. Listen.
Your inner excellence.
I am so tired of the narrative of him being this villain. He seems like the nicest guy ever. And it's crazy because we've seen it. Like, I pay attention to everything. I watch everything, all the behind the scenes stuff, the all 22, the pictures. I follow a lot of the Eagles players, you know, on Instagram. So I've seen him read a book on the sideline before.
Yeah.
And so it's not anything new. And the crazy thing is, I got into an argument with somebody in the comments on Mike Missinelli's video this morning, and last night, and they responded this morning, because the narrative is, oh, well, that was wrong for him to do, and he just wants attention. And I'm like, well, he's done it before, so why is this some new thing? Because you just all of a sudden need something else to talk about.
Right.
And the person says, oh, no, he's never done that before. And they started writing in all caps. And I tried to respond, and they kept erasing my comment. But I just told them, I told them, if somebody's reading a book about self-help and something positive on the sideline is your definition of bad behavior, you might want to look at how you see life, because it's crazy to me. People pray, people meditate, people go outside and stare in outer space.
Good point.
On the sideline. What is the difference? Okay,
there is no difference. They want something to say. They trying to they just want to say something, but they don't know what to say. So they pick the low hanging fruit.
It's so sad.
I don't, like, most people really do not understand what goes on in the locker room. I've been saying this for almost a year now. I'm gonna do a video, and I'm gonna do a video about me trying to find out who this guy is named Sources.
Oh my God!
Because sources close to the team. I talk about this all the time, and I'm like, most of the time, you mean to tell me that every team openly is admitting that they got a snitch on the team? Nah.
Right. Exactly.
At the end of the day, they are guessing. They're guessing like everybody else. There's been plenty of times where people say stuff on television because the reason why it's so bad on TV is because all of these guys that watch that are on these like Good Morning Football and the NFL countdown shows and all of that kind of stuff. Most of these guys, there's no way they got enough time to watch all of the games. They can't. There's not enough time in the day. So it's and I think most fans forget it's a production.
Mhm.
It's a production. Just like when they show Merrill Reese and Mike Quick in the booth, you got about 4 or 5 people behind them shoving papers in front of their face. Here's this ad. Here's that ad. Here's the stats. Here's the last time he scored a touchdown. They got something. That's a production.
Mhm.
All these media shows, people are shoving stats in front of their faces. They didn't watch the game.
Yeah.
So they don't have any context. I saw it 2 years ago before Trey Lance was traded to the Cowboys. He was playing in a preseason game for San Francisco, and he didn't have a good first quarter. But he ended up having a game-winning drive and won the game for the 49ers. But on the little ESPN 30-second, update, they said that he was playing terrible and they didn't know what he was doing. And I was like, clearly they didn't watch the game.
Yeah.
And you see stuff like that all the time. Everybody wants to get the information out super quick. The hell if it's right or not.
Yeah.
And most
Yeah.
people don't have the right context. So it is what it is. That's the impatient social media era that we are in now. So it kind of is what it is. I'm old school. I played in the 90s. I played with Seth and Clyde and Herschel and Randall and Seth Joyner was the leader of that defense.
Yeah.
But even then, when we would deal with the media, I always forget my rookie year. I believe that was 93. I believe 93 was the first year they let women in the locker room.
Oh.
So we had to. It was just a different time back then.
Yeah.
If you didn't like what somebody said about you in the media, that beat writer was going to see you face to face in the locker room. There's that famous clip of Bobby Bonilla with the Mets, and some reporter said something about him, and he was in the locker room pacing because he wanted to fight the dude. So if somebody wrote something bad about you, they had to see you face to face.
Yeah.
So at least they had to have the guts to come in there and still do their job, stick a microphone in front of them. And some of them conversations and those situations were tense, very tense, but they had to do their job. So there was a level of respect on both sides, and you just don't have that no more because everybody just wants to say whatever they want to. And now we're at a point now where there's no agree to disagree. If you don't agree with my take, it immediately goes to disrespect.
Yeah.
It's like, where did this come from? This is new school. Because
Well,
I two things can be true. I could love Jalen Hurts and say he sucked in the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
So, that's not my opinion. That's my observation from watching the tape. You ain't got to agree with me, but you ain't got to call me out my name, call me an asshole, stupid MF, and all of that type of stuff. And that's the social media era that we in.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it is what it is.
It's unfortunate, but what I am excited about is Sunday.
Yes.
It's crazy because everybody's acting like we're supposed to be afraid. Now, listen, I know the way they played yesterday. I mean, not yesterday. What was that? Was that yesterday?
Sunday.
Today's Tuesday, right?
Today's Tuesday.
Yeah, but they played yesterday, didn't they?
No,
Monday
they
night
play
game.
Sunday.
Who? No, I'm talking about the Rams.
Oh, the Rams. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Correct.
Sorry, I didn't say who I was talking about. Yeah. So they played well yesterday. The Vikings didn't.
Right.
But everybody, now the narrative is that, the Eagles have to make sure they're on point. Like we didn't just, beat they, a few weeks ago.
Right.
So, and let's be real. We've gotten better and better each week on defense. I don't know what it is, what kind of Superman cape they go in that, and going in an overcare and put on that field. But I'm so excited for Sunday to come up because I just want everybody to shut up at this point. Like
I'm
why
with you
should
100%. I'm
why do we
100%.
gotta be scared? Like teams should be scared of us. That should be the narrative.
Our defense is playing at a ridiculous level.
Absolutely.
And I'm saying that as somebody that played, I was part of the last piece of that gangrene defense. Now I'm a running back, but again, I played with Seth, Clyde, Willie T,
Hmm.
Eric Allen, Andre Waters, Wes Hopkins.
Hmm.
We had the fridge on the team. Gerald Nichols, Keith Millard, Eric McMillan, Mark McMillan, Byron Evans, Willie T. Like our defense was ridiculous. That was the last piece of that gangrene defense. So I understand what this defense is looking like. And you talking about Vic Fangio taking us from worst to first when we lost Hassan Reddick, when we lost Fletcher Cox, when we lost Brandon Graham, and we
Hmm.
still the number one defense.
Yeah,
I was
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's crazy because we're prepared from the front to the back and from end to end. Our starters, our backups, and our backups are good to go as soon as you call them in there. It's crazy. You don't see that very often with most teams. You know,
No.
your second stringers, they might be okay, but our second string can come in and be like, okay, I got you. And it'll be just fine. It's crazy.
Yeah. But that's why they play the game. That's
Yeah.
why I look at it. I don't know if you heard me earlier. The playoffs, one game seasons.
Hmm.
Every week, everybody starts in the same. You get yourself back in the blocks
Yeah.
because you can. All it takes is one game, and then when you in that one game, all it takes is one play. Every team is one play away from glory or ruin.
That's
It
true.
all depends on how it goes. So, um, just like prime example is what happened to us in Washington. If that had been a playoff game, that's a wrap. You know what I mean? So we just got to be ready. And I think Vic Fangio is going to have the defense ready. And I'm going to go off the track record of what happened to us after the Carolina game, after the whole
Yeah.
AJ saying the offense has got it. Then that next game, we woke up a little bit. So
They went off.
I'm expecting that same type of performance this week.
I hope
So I'm,
so.
I'm looking for here's the key to the game. You got to watch Lane Johnson against Jared Verse. Lane Johnson and Mylata versus Jared Verse.
Hmm.
If we can keep Jared Verse contained, we all right. And then on the flip side of that, the Rams have got to worry about Jalen Carter.
Yeah.
Because the big reason our defense is doing so well is because Jalen Carter demands a double team. You must double team him. And
Hmm.
that means somebody else on the line of scrimmage is going to eat because they have to spend too much attention to Jalen Carter.
Yeah. And we got to contain Puka Nakua. I don't know what he eat in the morning for breakfast. He's so strong. Like when you're watching him, he doesn't stop running. He kind of reminds me of Saquon, even though he's not a running back. You
That's
know,
that
like
that's that Polynesian blood.
yeah, he does not. That I mean, he's super strong. I know he
Yeah.
got to work out like crazy because you can't stop him. He's going to keep running. He's going to get another 5, 10 yards after you try to stop him. So you got to contain him.
Yeah, we just got to scheme them. They can get got just like
Yeah,
anybody else, and it's just got to come to a situation where, um, when we get a chance to get home, we got to get home,
yeah,
and we should have a better opportunity with Matthew Stafford. Now, the thing that concerns me is because I always got to go back to that Tampa Bay game. When Tampa Bay beat us, they Baker Mayfield was getting rid of the ball super quick. He
yeah,
was under 3 seconds all game, and that's what Matt Stafford can do.
yeah,
So when we get an opportunity to get home, we can't blow those opportunities. When we get an opportunity for a sack, or if we get our hands on the ball for a pick, we got to come down with it.
yeah.
We got to come down with it. So we did that against Green Bay, and we got to do it again against the Rams. So, but checking the weather, it looks like we're gonna have a storm front coming in here this
Yes,
weekend.
it's going to rain. It's definitely going
So
to rain.
I'm seeing snow.
Yeah, well, they say closer toward the evening is going to snow. So I don't know.
Well, it's a 4:30 game, I believe.
Well, no, it's a 3 o'clock game.
Oh, it's a 3 o'clock game.
Yeah, it's a three
Okay.
o'clock game. So yeah, they said closer to the evening because I'm in Philly. I'm actually in the area. I live right across from the NovaCare, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
And it's crazy because one day I'm going to climb that gate and see what's going on. But yeah, I was looking at the weather and I'm like, damn, they talking about rain, and then towards
Yeah.
the evening it's supposed to snow a little bit. So I mean,
The only thing worse than being cold is being wet and cold.
well, you know what? We ain't worried about that though. We done played. Remember last year? We played how many rain games last year?
Yeah, you're right.
It rained in like what 4 or 5 games that we played in. It was crazy last year.
But that's advantage for us because uh, warm weather teams do not do well in cold weather,
Good,
let alone snow and sleet.
good for them, and
So
great for
that's
us.
going to benefit us.
Yeah,
So we'll see. We still got to play the game, but we'll see.
I think we'll be okay. When this before the season started, and I know I said it the other day when you were on live. All the changes that were made, I was so content with everything that they did. I feel like they took everything that went wrong last year and righted it. In the off season, they went and got who we needed. They made sure to fix things. Once the season started, I was never worried. When everybody was going through the list of who we're going to lose to, who we're going to win, I said, listen, we're either going to be 13-4 or 14-3.
Right.
Get
And we should be 16-1.
We
Two drop
should.
two drop passes away from 16-1.
Well,
We would have been the
both.
only one lost team and we would have won the division. So
That's
um,
true.
and I don't forget that. And I will argue with anybody.
That's
And I give Washington their credit and I give Atlanta their credit because when they had to make the play to win the game, they made the play.
yeah,
However, we lost that game.
yeah.
We beat ourselves in those games.
We did.
So
'Cause the only team that really whooped on us was Tampa
Tampa
Bay.
Bay. Yep.
That was
Yep.
it. Like
Yep. And that's why I'm glad Tampa Bay is out of it because Todd Bowles has our number.
he does. And I'm gonna be honest. I say I'm not afraid of most of these teams. That was the one team I'm like, ugh, I didn't want to play them. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. I kind of wanted to see him because I wanted to get a little get back, but because I think our defense is so much better than what it was back then. And
Agree.
even in that game, if you go back and look at that tape, um, if we have a couple of plays go different, like the first play of the game, Jalen misses a wide open AJ Brown.
Yeah.
That it'd have been a 6 point first play.
Yeah.
So just different things like that. Um, and really that's why you get into film study so you can understand what mistakes you made and why you made them to make sure you don't do them again. So
Yeah.
um, I think we'll be good to go this weekend. We'll be ready. The cold will be in our favor, and I think the offense is going to be ready to go. And if we can't throw because of the weather, that means they can't throw either.
Yeah, that's true.
So that limits Stafford, and Stafford ain't going to run on you.
No.
So, and I think and here's the advantage of our defense. Why everybody's looking at Jalen Carter, right? Nolan Smith continues to just be a force on the edge.
I'm so proud of him.
He was
I'm
clearly his rookie year. He was clearly the leader of all of the rookies, but it just didn't translate on the field. And then he, got a little bit more seasoning, and of course the Vic Fangio element,
Yeah.
and he is paying dividends, and he's killing it right now, and can't nobody stop him.
I think people got to give rookies a little bit of leeway. I think, like you said, we live in this microwave society. It's even coming into sports a lot. You can't expect a rookie to come in off the bat. I mean, it's rare. Like you got Jaden Daniels who's over there doing his thing. I ain't gonna lie, but that's a rare thing for a rookie to come in and automatically be it.
Right.
Especially the position Nolan Smith plays. It takes time. It takes, the right coaching. You have to have the right coach. And a lot of people wrote him off. I'm so happy for him. I'm so proud of him. I'm so happy for him and Zach Bond too, because Zach Bond, man, sheesh.
Yeah, Zach Bond. Me and Tone talked about him in preseason.
Yeah.
Um, and when I watched film on him in preseason, the first thing I thought was he don't get many snaps. But when he did, he made things happen. So we were thinking that he was going to be a pretty good special teamer. And lo and behold, it's amazing what happens when you get the right coaching and you get an opportunity. And
Yeah.
he's made the most of it. And it'll be a damn shame if Zach Bond is not the defensive player of the year.
Yeah, it would be. And it's
He's been
crazy.
that good.
Like you guys were saying before, it's all about the name, and if he's not a household name, he should be a household name at this point. He has been
Absolutely.
good from day one. From
Absolutely.
day one, they saw Vic Fangio, and well, I mean, obviously Howie saw it first, but Vic Fangio saw something in him that nobody else saw. To go into playing a totally different position, having to react differently, having to do things completely differently than you used to doing it, and be great at it in every aspect, that is amazing.
Well, Zach Bond was a sometimes you might hear this phrase, we throw it around if you ex players and stuff like that. Well, usually it's like, well, why did they cut such and such, or why did you get cut? Oh, it was a numbers game. And
Mhm.
basically, what that means is you get people ahead of you that their team has to play because they under contract and they paying them a lot of money.
Yeah.
So you're not going to sit them on the bench. And Zach Bond down there in New Orleans got lost in the sauce because the guys that were in front of him were playing well enough, but they were making big money, so they had to play.
And see, that's why I said earlier, I'm glad that Vic Fangio was like, I don't care how much money you make.
Yeah,
If you're not playing to the standard that I think you should play, you're going to look at Bryce Huff. Bryce Huff has
exactly.
his ass on the bench every game.
Well, Bryce Huff is a little bit different because Bryce Bryce Huff started paying dividends until he got hurt, until he hurt his wrist. But even with the situation with Bryce Huff, that was another situation where they was trying to, put the round square peg in a round hole.
Yeah.
You trying to make him do something that's not his specialty. Just let him do what he does best. They did the same thing before with Hassan Reddick. Don't be
Yeah.
dropping Hassan Reddick. Jonathan Gannon even said as much.
Yeah.
Hassan Reddick should have had about 20 sacks
Yeah.
two,
Yeah.
3 years ago, but they tried to drop him back into coverage. And that is a situation, and this happens on offense and defense. You get these coaches that want to push their agenda rather than looking at their personnel, and they're adjusting their schemes to fit the personnel that they had.
Now, do
The
you
best,
think if we would have still had Hassan this year, that they would have allowed him to play how he plays?
yeah.
Yeah.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Well, I mean, because like you said, they kept trying to make him drop back in coverage. He's a rusher. That's what he does best. He
But
go for
I,
the
I,
quarterback.
I think Vic Fangio, that was easy enough to figure out.
Yeah.
So, and again, when we played him when he was in Carolina, when we played him when he was in Arizona, he did the same thing. Every year he started from the giddy up, he's done the same thing.
Yeah.
When he was with Carolina, he sacked Jalen Hurts, what, 3 times? He had 3 sacks that game off the edge. And that's what he does. Why change it? And
Yeah.
sometimes, and it usually happens on offense more than defense, but it's the same thing. Use like, oh, we got this good player. He's going to fit in my scheme. It's like, no, you got to make sure your scheme fits the personnel that you have. You got to know your personnel. Jimmy Johnson was great at that. Bill Parcells was great at that. Bill Belichick was great at that. Julian Edelman made a career. Julian Edelman was 5'9", 5'10", not fast, but all he had one job, and couldn't nobody stop him. And Belichick used him till he couldn't use him no more, and he made a career out of it.
And do you think that they should have kept him and gave him, because that what they were saying that he was asking for, what, like 20 something mil?
He was asking for a little bit much, but I don't blame him because he played it. He
Yeah.
played up to that.
Yeah.
So my thing is, and this is, I'm biased, and you'll understand what I'm saying. Keep your homeboys at home.
Yeah.
He from right over the bridge in Camden.
Yeah.
Keep your homeboys at home. He earned it. He earned that money, but Howie made a business decision because it's still a business. So I can't get mad at Howie because if we sign Hassan Reddick, Zach Bond never happens.
That's true. That's true.
You know what I mean? So there's a give and take. And at the end of the day, Howie was right.
Yeah.
He was right.
Yeah.
So I don't I don't know what happened to Hassan. He just kind of went aloof and went on his, he was over in Japan,
Yeah.
watching anime and buying swords or whatever. But Howie was right. in that regards. I still want the best for Hassan Reddick, but Howie was right.
Yeah, and we definitely needed linebackers. Let's be real, because I mean, sheesh.
Yeah, last year was just. I try to forget that, but like I'd be real curious as to like the whole thing with Matt Patricia and Sean Desai. They just pulled the rug from Sean Desai, and the same thing with Brian Johnson. I think it was weird because after that Tampa Bay game last year, I didn't think Nick Sirianni was going to be fired, but if he was, I totally understood.
You know, getting on the Nick Sirianni thing too, right? Like, first of all, last year was just a cluster f of nonsense. I don't feel like either coordinator were ready to be on the front line
Well,
yet.
I don't necessarily agree with that, and I'm saying that because we about to play the Rams. Look at the Rams game we played last year. Look at how we beat the Rams last year with Sean Desai.
We did.
We
Because he
handled
made
business.
adjustments. He
Yep.
did.
They because if I remember that game, the first half, it was all about Nakua and what's the other one? What's the other receiver?
Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp was killing us in the first half.
Yeah.
And then Sean Desai made the adjustments, and we put it on him in the second half. So
did.
don't tell me that Sean Desai can't coach.
We did.
But for whatever reason, I don't know if communication wasn't, something happened. I don't know.
It didn't feel right last year. From the beginning, you know how like in 2022 and even like with this year, it just feels right. You know, it's not something you can necessarily put your finger on outside of it just feeling right. Like, of course,
Right.
you know, we got our new coordinators, you know, Nick backed off completely and finally, and you know, we got a great defense now. Our offense was never the problem, really. But I feel like going into last year, when I say I had a heart attack every single game, and listen, I'm on heart medication. I started to take the whole bottle one day because it was just way too much. It was just way too much. And every game you're sitting there and your heart's beating, you're on the floor, sweating to death, like you're in a game playing yourself. It just never felt right last year. It never felt right from the start of the season.
Well, last year, what upset me about last year was, and we had this conversation a lot. I was on with Seth Joyner. We were talking about this. 2-a-days versus new-a-day. When I played, we banged.
Yeah.
We had 4 weeks, 2 practices a day, full pads, full tilt, both practices. We got it in. Yeah. They don't do that anymore. And to me, that is why we couldn't tackle. It was like we had a pandemic of bad tackling.
Oh man, it was terrible.
It was horrible.
I used to be like, let me just get out there because what is going on? Everybody had butterfingers. It's like,
and that's
shoelaces.
That is a prerequisite of playing football. So when you see that, to me, that's on the coach. And you juxtapose that to what Dan Campbell was doing and having the practices. And they showed him damn near crying to the team, like, you got to trust me. I'm doing this for a reason. And they built that toughness. And now you see Detroit doing what they're doing. There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
And we finally got it together. But that tackling last year was god awful.
It was absolutely terrible. You know what's crazy too about last year? Speaking of that, Bradbury, right? Because you know we forgot he plays for the team still, but I said from the beginning, like something was wrong in his eyes. Like you could look in his eyes and tell he was never all the way there.
When Bradbury, in my opinion, Bradbury, the expiration on his, you know, some people peak or they hit that age and just the skills decline. And I think Bradbury didn't have a decline. He just literally dropped off a cliff. And I've seen that before. It's like you got players that are on your team, they're good until they aren't. And you never know when that moment hits where they just lose it. And I think, because I agree, last year Bradbury looked like he was running in oatmeal. It's like he couldn't, like he had no speed and his instincts were gone. So I don't understand what happened. I just think, you know, he hit that age and the skills just started to decline. And for him, in this particular case, they just fell off a cliff. There wasn't like, I look at Slay still playing at a very high level,
Yeah.
at 34 years old. When he's
Yeah.
on the field, he can still make plays and he can still run with these young fellas. Bradbury couldn't do that. He was never that type of cornerback anyways.
Mhm.
But the situation he found himself in last year, it wasn't good.
You
So
know what I kind of thought too? Because in the playoffs, remember that PI call he got? And that kind of shift the momentum of the game at that moment. I feel like
yeah,
he was never right since then. I think that was part of it. Because you
that's
could kind
possible.
of look at him and tell, like, I remember telling somebody, like, look at his eyes. Like, he looks like he is in another world. He's not even on the field.
I mean, that's fair. But it was it was a questionable call. So
It
he's
was.
not the first person to go out like that. But I mean, it's possible.
Yeah. I
But
feel like it was part of it at least.
guess what? He's in that film room helping the young fellas out. And if everything goes his way, he gonna get a ring. So
Yeah, that's true. And he still get paid this year.
and he still get paid. I ain't mad at him.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at him. So um we got it together. We gotta bring in the bad weather. Let's I kind of hope it's bad weather so we can just run Saquon and Kenny Gainwell to death.
Yeah.
So, but I really need to, like I said, my biggest concern this week, I need Kellen Moore. You gotta step your game up, bro. You gotta step your game up.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see what's gonna happen.
He's a
So,
little wishy-washy. Like, I like Kellen Moore, but I feel like he goes back and forth with how he calls a game. Some games it's like, I don't know. I kind of feel like he plays down to certain teams and then he ratchets it up with certain teams.
yeah,
Why
my
that
my
is?
issue with him is, I'm like, dude, all the stuff you was doing when you was with the Cowboys and killing us,
Yeah.
I need Saquon back in ace formation and Jalen under center, and we running play action off of that.
Yeah.
Y'all used to kill us with that. Zeke used to run right off tackle to the right, and the tight end used to slip right down the line of scrimmage and be wide open because
Yeah.
all of the linebackers flew to get to Zeke, and we would kill folk. They would kill us on that, and that's my biggest criticism of Kellen Moore right now is, my biggest nitpick is we don't run Saquon outside at all. We trying to
Oh,
force everything up the middle, and it drives me nuts. As a running back, like, dude, you got to run these zone reads. That's how you get it done. You don't have a hole, you don't have a location. You hand the ball off as wide and as deep as possible, and you let a running back be a running back. He chooses where to go. That's
it
the
makes
beauty of a
me
zone read.
it makes me want to run into a wall. I'm like, run him left or right? Why are you running up the middle? It's so annoying because it's like everybody's going to converge towards the middle. Why you keep running him up the middle? It's so nerve
I don't
wracking.
get it
Oh my
because they
god!
know they stack the box on us. They stack the
Every
box, so
time.
you gotta race him outside. At least get him on the corner so he can race you to out of bounds. He's still
Yeah.
good for 3 yards.
Yep.
So and just to stretch the defense out. But they ain't done it this far. Don Vaughn, I hope you're right, bro. I hope he gonna open up that playbook this week because
He
that's exactly
better.
what we needed.
He better. I
So
mean, I feel like we'll be okay. I just hope that he's not starting to get stale because we don't. This is not the time. This pull out
well, I don't
everything.
look at it like that because at the end of the day, he want to win the Super Bowl too.
I would hope so.
So that's why I say again, I'm going back on his track record on what happened um after the Carolina game. So they in the lab, they in the film room doing what they got to do. They know what they did wrong. Jalen knows what his mistakes were. Um, and they've been watching film on the Rams, and we gonna have something for him. We're gonna have something for him. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But Frado says you got to use your pull to let Nick and Kellen go. No, go out. Yeah, I got to use my pull. Let me make a call. Let me see if I can get in touch with Dom, Big Dom. He can do
You can
something
have
for me.
everybody go stand at the NovaCare like they did last year with those signs.
Oh,
Say, run Saquon left or
run the
right.
ball. That was crazy. That was disrespectful, but that was crazy.
It
That's
was
Philly for you.
hilarious. I drove past it and it was funny because they really were out there. They
Yeah,
were
they were out
really
there.
out there.
They were out there, but they hear it, man. It's one of those things where people don't like. Y'all don't understand how many hours these jokers watch film. Back when I played, the only way you could watch film at home, you had to buy a super beta player or a super VHS player. You couldn't just bring home your iPad. So it was a process to be able to watch tapes at home. And then you would come home with like 10 and 12 tapes.
Yeah.
Now everything's on an iPad. You ain't got to take nothing home. Take an iPad, or when you get to your computer at home, you log into a network at the stadium and you can watch whatever you want to watch.
Yeah.
And it's so the amount of studying these guys do now is incredible. And they will I have confidence that they'll be ready. I have confidence.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. I just want to have a relaxing. I want it to feel like how it did when we played Pittsburgh.
We want a dominant game. That's what we want.
Yeah.
We want a dominant game. And that's fair. As fans, that is fair.
Yeah.
So it doesn't always come out like that, but that is not an unreasonable request from your team in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
So
I wanted to ask you.
Sure.
Jake Elliott.
Missy Elliott.
And I love him. I call him Big L. Because last year he was on it. I don't even know. I don't even know what to say anymore. I get that. First of all, this year for kickers have either been they're winning games or they're losing games.
It's something in the water. I don't know what it is. I don't know what flavor Kool-Aid they drinking.
Yeah, I saw somebody make a suggestion that kicking extra points should be banished from football at this point, and you should have to go for 2. Because you got to think about it. Like, the punter doesn't kick field goals; he punts. So you have your one kicker. Something happens to your kicker, you got to wind up kicking.
We gonna go to the XFL rules.
Yeah, so it's just like, I don't know. Like, I'm just so. What do we do for a kicker next year?
They're gonna find another one. They're gonna bring a whole bunch of people in camp. And Jake Elliott is either gonna beat him out or he's not. That's what it's gonna come down to. So we are stuck with him right now. It makes no sense to switch. So it is what it is, and we just got to deal with it. So he's been, with the exception of the 50-yarders, he's been okay. He's still been better than most. So we got to hang our hat on that. And my thing is just like, how about this? How about let's not get ourselves in the position where we need that.
But see, you never know. Those
you're right.
Extra points make a difference. Like the game the other day.
I was sweating bullets. You make the field goal, but you missed the point after a trial. Like, what is that? So yeah. I don't know what's in the water.
I don't know.
They need to stop drinking it. So
yeah, well, maybe that it is something in the water that they're drinking that's causing them to kick too far left or right. Because no way.
Absolutely. So. But all right, I think I'm about to shut this down. If anybody else wants to get on, because I got another show to be on in a couple minutes.
Well, I appreciate you letting me on. I'm gonna go get my roast out the oven. I know it's late.
Sounds good.
Get my roast.
All right. I plan on doing this more in the future. So if people want to get on, they had an opportunity to come on and express your opinions. So I appreciate you coming on.
Be back. Thank you.
Keep bringing that fire. And like what I always say, I need more female fans in the chat. If not, my sisters would kill me.
Of course.
But thank you so much. I appreciate you.
All right. Thank you.
So yeah. Appreciate K Chanel coming on, bringing the fire, bringing the heat, bringing them opinions, man. Hey, and like I said, anybody, we're gonna stay on probably to about another 10 minutes, and then I gotta bounce because I got another show to be on. NBA Jam reference. Jordan, I agree with you, man. The least of our worries is Jake Elliott. I'm more worried. I'm not concerned about Jake Elliott. Yes, I will be a little bit nervous if he have to kick a long field goal, but it is what it is. You more worried about Nakobe Dean being out. I'm with you on that one. But again, I don't know if you caught me earlier in the show. Oren Burks with a week's worth of time with the first team. That makes a difference. So, so we'll be okay. So we'll see. And if not, like I said, Trot Jr., Philadelphia's itching for him to get a shot because they want that legacy in there. They want to see Trotter on the field at all times. So we'll see. But again, Vic Fangio will have them together. Yeah, that's right. I did hear that. I meant to write that down. I forgot about it. Good call. Oren Burks was in for Greenlaw in the Super Bowl. Well, that still makes me sick, man. And that when Greenlaw popped his Achilles running onto the field, that is exactly what I mean when I say everybody is one play away from glory or ruin. Because if Greenlaw's on that field, I think San Francisco wins that game. That's just my opinion. So, but yeah, Oren Burks has got some skills. He's got some experience, and he's got some experience in the bright lights. And like I was saying earlier, it's a big deal when you don't get the reps in practice. Now he's had a week's worth of reps in practice. So I'm expecting some big things out of him. So we should be good to go. So good call, Don. So yeah, but I think we've had a next man up mentality the whole time, and it's pretty much at work. So we are good to go. I got faith and confidence in our players and our coaches, and I think Jalen Hurts is going to have a much better game. But I'm really hoping that we run a little bit more. So we'll see. How do you think traveling to Arizona, then having to travel Philly on a short week, affects the Rams on Sunday? It's definitely going to affect them. If not for nothing else, even if it wasn't a short week, just all of the stuff that they're dealing with in LA with the fires and everything, that is stress. That is a stress. Nobody's going to be comfortable. There's nothing you can do about that. Nothing. So, yes, it benefits us. And yes, it'll probably be people saying the only reason you won is because LA Ram had other stuff going on. But that's the nature of the beast. Can't do nothing about that. So wouldn't nobody care if it was us on the other end of that. So, it is what it is. You get paid to play the game. Nobody said that when they beat when they won the game the other day. That ain't an excuse when they win, so it can't be an excuse when they lose. Dome teams and dome teams still don't do as well, but not as bad as just outdoor teams. So and some of that data is a little bit skewed because like I was looking at the Rams record outdoor in the cold. I know a couple of years they played in Dallas, and Dallas is a quote unquote dome team, but they had a hole in the roof, so it's considered an outdoor stadium. But it wasn't really outdoor. And so sometimes they get skewed a little bit like that. But in this situation, they're coming to a cold climate, and it's probably going to be rain and snow. So that benefits us because Matt Stafford ain't used to having his fingers cold like that. That is a different feeling. So I think that is to our advantage, and we're going to take advantage of it. And it makes it harder for a immobile quarterback to move in the pocket. Jalen Hurts is used to running the ball. Matthew Stafford isn't. And when you cold, that's even worse. So, again, the weather's going to benefit us, man. So we'll see. But we got to get there. We got to handle business. And like I said, I think the defense is going to show up, and I'm looking for the offense to absolutely show up. Good for us. Absolutely. I got a confidence level of about 8.5. 8.5. The only way I would have a confidence level of 10 is if their quarterback was out or one of their main players was out or something like that. So I'm saying 8.5. I think we'll be there hot and ready. So good question. So we good to go, man. I'm ready to rock and roll. So, but listen, I'm gonna get up out of here, man. I appreciate everybody. The chat was fire. Appreciate K Chanel coming on, letting her opinions be known. And why y'all scared in the chat, man? Get on the mic, say what you got to say, and we can keep this conversation going, man. So I appreciate everybody. You said the backyard football. You wrong for that, dog. The backyard football. I appreciate that. Appreciate that video game reference. Love that game. But yeah, we do have to do better in the blitz, but it's all about the route. So we'll see what's going to happen because the Rams are watching film too. They watching film too. So, but we're gonna be ready and we're gonna be better. But I'm gonna get up out of here, man. I appreciate everybody in the chat. K Chanel, Hot and Ready, Pat Ryan, Dirty. I think that's Dirty Sith 273. I'm guessing that's a Star Wars reference. Don Vaughn, Jordan's Mobile Detailing, Afrado. Who else? Who else? Appreciate you. Appreciate you. I don't want to miss anybody, man. Everybody that was in the chat, man. Cody K, Kev, PRF, everybody, man. I appreciate you, Joe Santo, bringing the heat. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Spread the word. Share this with somebody. Let's make this thing grow, man. Trying to get to 6,000 before the Super Bowl gets here. So we'll see we'll see what's what. But I'm gonna get out of here. Y'all get ready for the game. I'm gonna have more content tomorrow, and let's get ready to rock and roll and make it to the next round of playoffs and get to that NFC Championship game. All right, go Birds.